Hello and welcome back to our continuous coverage on India versus England, Day 5 of the ongoing 5-match series. Well, today is the penultimate day, though there were expectations that the series will get over on Day 4 itself, but rain, the spoiled sport, pushed it to Day 5. And today as well, the conditions are overcast at the Oval.
Absolutely. Day 5 is the battle of chasing 35 more runs versus hoping to take 4 wickets. While Team England is just 35 runs away from claiming the 5-match series 3-1, I should say, whereas Team India is eyeing for 4 more wickets to level the series. Deepika, big game, and yes, last day will be very crucial.
Indeed, and let's see that who all, there are contentions on Chris Woke. So in the next half an hour, we'll get you the latest update, expert analysis and a quick recap of records and highlights of the ongoing 5-match test series between India and England. Let's get it started.
Yes, the dramatic 5th and final test between India and England at the Oval moved on to Day 5 as bad light and eventual rain forced stumps to be taken early on Sunday. India roared back into the contest after tea on Day 4 as England were reduced from 301 for 3 to 337 for 6, with centurions Joe Root and Harry Brook dismissed in the process. The match was slipping away from India, with Shubman Gill's side made to pay after Mohammad Siraj's fielding blunder handed Brook a lifeline. However, 3 wickets from Prasidh Krishna and 2 from Siraj himself has thrown the game wide open. England are aiming to script a record test run chase of 374 at the Oval, while India must win to level the series and retain the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy.
And before we begin with the expert analysis and decode it for you, let's quickly take a look at the recap of the 4th day of India versus England test highlights. To begin with, Harry Brook and Joe Root, both of them hit great centuries, the much needed one. Not only this, Brook and Root steadied the ship for England, the hosts. However, that was not all about it. England complicated things at the fag end. So England's lower middle order was caught off guard. There was the main problem. And for India, 3 wickets from Prasidh Krishna and 2 from Siraj threw the game wide open. But eventually, bad light erupted the play. Well, England need 35 runs to win the 5th test, whereas India need 4 more wickets to level the series by 2-2.
Yes, at a big update, England's fast bowling all-rounder Chris Woke is reported to be available to bat on the final day morning at the Oval despite a suspected shoulder dislocation. Woke was initially ruled out of the remainder of the 5th test against India after sustaining the injury while fielding on first day, and had his left arm in a sling in the dressing room on Sunday, but is prepared to put his body on the line if England need him. That's what Joe Root said. But Woke practiced batting one-handed in the indoor school on Sunday and changed into his whites during the evening session, readying himself to bat at number 11 if required.
And since today is the penultimate day, Day 5 of the 5-match series, it's now also time to take a look at highlights and records so far that we've witnessed. Well, India scored 470 boundaries, which includes 422 fours and 48 sixes. It also marks the first time that India crossed 400 boundary mark in a test series. Not only this, India notched highest number of 50-plus scores throughout the test series, and further, it accumulated 3,809 runs at an average of 42.32. Talking about the skipper, Indian skipper Shubman Gill is the leading run scorer so far as he smashed 4 centuries in 5 matches to tally a mammoth of 754 runs. Now, Mohammad Siraj stepped up as a leading wicket taker in the series, and he grabbed 20 wickets in 5 matches. Siraj also crossed the milestone of 200 international wickets in his career. On the other hand, Rishabh Pant scored 479 runs across 7 innings. These are few of the top highlights of the match so far. And also he did that Rishabh Pant did that at an average of 68.43 across 4 matches, including a record 2 centuries. And talking about it, for England side, Joe Root surpassed KL Rahul to become the second highest scorer of the series. And Joe Root also went on to complete his 39th Test 100. And Root with this is now the player with most 500 plus scores against India. Whereas Root is also the leading run getter in WTC. On the other hand, it is also about Josh Tongue, who made a big impact, taking 19 wickets. These are some of the highlights and records so far we've witnessed very visibly at the ongoing India versus England Test series.
Absolutely. Talking about today, sensational counter charge by Harry Brook and Joe Root. It actually turned the tide in England's favour. But what a dramatic comeback by India. I mean, it was because of the overcast conditions. We'll go across to senior sports journalist Rakesh Rao. Rakesh ji, what a great comeback. And we want to know from you, have you seen that happening before? Because was it because of the overcast conditions? Indian bowlers got a seam movement also. Was it because of that, or India did, exceptionally well with the bowling later half in the day?
Abhishek, I would say that it was a mix of both, in the sense that the conditions did help the Indians. But all through the day, the number of times the ball crossed the ball actually crossed the ropes, that was so alarming. I mean, you can't be just gifting away fours just like that. And Prasidh Krishna, I'll hold him squarely responsible for letting too many, fours every time he came on to bowl. He got a wicket, he comes back again, in his next over, and the one after that, he's leaking boundaries. Now, that is one thing where I think the Indian grip was firmly and very squarely loosened. Thereafter, once Root and Brook got going, it was a self-inflicted, wound by the Englishmen. They could have just stayed on the cruise mode, but then, of course, the conditions did help a bit for India. But overall, I still feel that England is ahead. And talking about the way, Siraj, he bowled. Of course, he bowled brilliantly. And, unfortunately, he was the one who'll always be remembered for, allowing Brook another life. Yeah. But at the same time, I would still say that, yes, it was indeed, it has been a very engaging series, very, very close. At the same time, a lot of it was self-inflicted by England. Otherwise, at one point, it just appeared that these runs would be scored in no time. Yeah. And if we are going again for the 5th day in 5 games, it's thanks to Washington for once. Because if he hadn't scored all those runs for the last wicket, this day, this particular pre-lunch thing, it wouldn't have been even needed. So we all owe it to Washington for his, that kind of, the way he went after the bowling. That kind of a blitzkrieg was needed. And now it is up to how Indians manage the next 4 overs or just under 4 overs, get the new ball with some runs on the board and then strike. That is India's best way out. And at least Smith is there. So that gives them immense confidence. And talking about Wokes trying to get in, I think that he'll be there only as number 11. Right. So if you can get 9 out, getting him out of 2 deliveries shouldn't be a problem. He can at the most block, he cannot drive, he cannot do much. So Indians have their job to do. But overall, I think it's England ahead of India at this point.
Talking about Mr. Rao, the errors that both the sides have made, winning more number of sessions versus maintaining the consistency on the pitch. When we look at it, who, according to you, made the most number of errors? Because we saw it from both the sides coming in across the entire series. Though this has been the most thrilling series so far in the history of Test match, and that too in the English conditions. But then looking at today's match, because England, coming at this stage where we are again stretching to day number 5. How do you see this overall match going on, and especially the concerns and injuries and all the mistakes that have been, adding more to it?
For me, I think India has made at least one more error than England. Otherwise, we would have been ahead of them very clearly. We are staring at defeat. Let's face it. everything else being equal, in this sort of a condition, in this sort of a situation, the team which is going to chase it will be favored, because after all, cricket is meant to be a batsman's game, and they have the resources to get these extra runs, whatever, But the point here is, who made more mistakes? Obviously, India. Because if you just look back at the series, not just the match number 1 and match number 3, on the 5th day, when the game started, India was ahead. We lost both the matches. So India should have been up 3-0. The way we saved the last match again, we were behind. Give credit to Indians for, batting out 10 hours. Brilliant game. But thereafter, when you speak about making more number of mistakes, obviously India's share is bigger. But we can always draw, a lot of confidence, a lot of solace from saying, look, we fought hard. That's all fine. But at the end of the day, if we say highest number of wicket taker, Indian. Highest number of run getter, Indian.
Yes.
Highest number of, number of fours hit, Indians. But what will the scoreline reflect? 3-1. That's such a huge irony. So what I'm trying to say is, it is not about statistics alone. It is about, you don't make the mistakes which will actually cost you the game. You're free to make mistakes. Yes, we are. After all, it is a game between human beings. There will be mistakes, but which one proves costlier? Here, it is really hurting the Indians now, because you have leaked too many boundaries. If you are letting a team score 375 to win the match on day 4, in the 4th innings, trust me, you give credit to the team that has chased it down, no matter what.
Right. Indians maybe, Rakeshji, setting the game more, England winning it. We'll talk about that. But we'll go across to DD India's Narayan Singh also. Narayan, talking about day 5, match will start in 15 minutes, day 5, I should say. But yes, heavy roller would be used. It will definitely favor England. But yes, again, after 3.4 overs, new ball is available. Yes, we can say that Indian bowlers will be fresh again, will be refreshed. But again, we can say that for England also. But yes, very crucial first 3.4 overs.
Crucial, because as we know that only 35 runs are needed to England to win the match, and only India needs 4 wickets. So we can say that's a battle of equals here, both in terms of runs also, in terms of wickets also. But I think here it reminds us the test match of the 1999 when Sachin was playing at 136 runs, and Pakistan needed 4 wickets in that test match. And at that point in time, Wasim Akram, their captain, said that just take the wicket of the Sachin and win this match. And especially next morning, we saw that Sachin was out at 136 and India lost that match by 12 runs. Exactly the same situation is here. Now, Jamie Smith is the key man for the English team. Here, if India can take the wicket of the Jamie Smith, definitely it's going to be difficult for England, because after 3.4 overs, there will be a new ball. And as you mentioned, there will be fresh legs. Indian bowlers who are looking exhausted yesterday, not able to bowl. Even their speed was around 125. Apart from Siraj. So even if Prasad Krishna was bowling around 130, 125. So these, we can say, these figures are not expected from the pace bowlers. But most importantly, I want to tell you what mistakes India did here. The first one, they should have gone for the 4 pace bowlers, but they went for the 3, and that Akashdeep was half fit, and it was visible during the English commentary what our captain was saying, that have you taken the pain injection to Akashdeep. So half fit bowler, it's we can say that it's not sensible to be the part of the team. Apart from Akashdeep, we saw Arshdeep was there on the left-hand pacer, so he should have been there.
Arshdeep got injured, and you're saying we should have had 4 medium pacers, but in place of whom? 4th pacer, Rakeshji.
Let me complete. I want to say that English team went with the 4 pacers, as you know that, and 1 pacer is reduced to the Chris Wokes was injured and he got reduced. So in that sense, we should have at least replaced Akashdeep in place of Arshdeep rather than going for the 4.
Because Arshdeep was injured. He got injured. Arshdeep got injured.
Arshdeep is fit now. Arshdeep is fit.
Rakeshji, you want to add anything to it? Four pacers maybe? I mean, we can go in the hindsight and talk about the team combination, but again, four pacers you think would have been
the point is, irrespective of whether we had gone with four pacers or not, the fact is that Gambhir and company have decided, and they are pretty clear, that our fast bowlers don't bat. So you need an extra batter who is a spinner. Actually, both Ravindra Jadeja and like Washington, they both haven't bowled much. I mean, together they haven't even bowled 10 overs. So the point is, you have actually made use of them as batters. So if the idea was to ensure that we don't lose in terms of runs, and thanks to Washington, you mean to say if you had replaced one spinner with a fast bowler, so you drop either Jadeja or Washington. Don't forget, both have hit hundreds in the last match. So you could have dropped them. Now we can be very, very wise and say, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. Period. You had to face three bowlers from England. They didn't have fourth bowler in the second innings. So what did we do? We didn't make the most of it. We should have piled on runs. We gifted away wickets at the wrong time.
Right.
And thanks to Washington, this match is still alive.
That's true.
Washington,
coming on to you, Narayan.
Bowler, but Washington the batter.
Yes, indeed. And when we talk about it, because, the tactical pressure, the application of tactics on the pitch, that has always been under question. And especially after the later half of what happened, we saw on the pitch happening yesterday. Now, Narayan, talking about today, because I think it's all about an hour and we would be having the results now. As a bowling group, can Team India do it today, or it is too far a dream that India is chasing and just playing the match today? Narayan.
Definitely it can be done, but as I mentioned that Jamie Smith will be the key, because he is the only certified batsman there to change the complexion of the game. Otherwise, they have Atkinson, they have Overton. Overton also can score, but they are not we can say that all in all batters. And we know that Chris Woakes is already injured. He will be there, he may be there, but he will be there to just hold the stumps only. Otherwise, he has no role, because with an injured shoulder, with a dislocated shoulder, it's not possible to bat for him. So here I think both the chances are equal for both the teams. But rather than, I think that the most important here, the kind of execution towards the end on day 4, the Indian bowlers showed. They bowled their heart out. So that has to be done exactly here. Now they are fresh. So there is a chance. A new ball is also there. So the chance for the India to win this match, just how they bowl in the first 3-4 overs, that will just decide the fate of this match. It's not only about winning this match, but it's all about leveling the series and also earning the crucial WTC points. But as I mentioned earlier, India could have gone with a better team combination. Who knows better than this Gautam Gambhir? If you take a look, when KKR won the title, IPL title, he used 6 bowlers in his team and 106 wickets, and they won the title. So the frequent chopping and the frequent changing of the team, I think that backfired the Team India right from the first test match. Bumrah was there, the Shardul was there, and in next match, Bumrah was rested, Shardul was dropped, and after that we saw the Washington Sundar came, and after that a few more, Harshit, Nitish Kumar Reddy came, and after that Prasidh Krishna was dropped. So the frequent changes and chopping, definitely I think it's not good for the Indian team. Also, the captaincy of our captain was quite defensive yesterday, and if you want, as a batter, he's an exceptional. But I think that need to be more aggressive field play. He should just position the players at the aggressive position. So if India can do today, definitely their chances are better.
Rakeshji, if the match had continued yesterday, India would have had better chance of winning, you think? Because ball was seaming around, they had momentum also. Cricket is all about momentum.
Abhishek, it just depends on whether you are looking at it as an Indian or as an Englishman. If you're looking at it as an Indian, yes, we'll definitely have a reason to say that the ball was like darting about a bit, but it's still an old ball and bowlers were tired. Let's face it. They were tired. And when you know that one bowler is getting wickets not because he's bowling well, it is just because he's getting targeted. Prasidh Krishna should consider himself extremely fortunate that he has wickets in that last column. For the simple reason, he wasn't bowling great. And if you look at Siraj, on the other hand, he bowled his heart out. Give it to him. Akash was somewhere in the mix, But I think among the fast bowler, it was Siraj who was doing all the hard work. He should have got more wickets, no question about it. But if you look at it, that that Indians had a better chance, not quite, because even now, all you need to do is bowl tight, get rid of them. Don't forget that they are also under pressure. They know that Smith is the one who stands between India and victory. So they are also under pressure. If you can just let Smith remain there and clean up the other end, we are through. So if you attack the tail enders the way it's ought to be done, and this is where I think for one I feel Bumrah should have been around today. A fresh Bumrah with a new ball, just there up for the taking. I think Bumrah would have.
Bumrah should have been around. Questions around number 3, questions around seamers. When we are, talking about just 5 minutes before the 5th and final day of the 5-match test series, what do you think of Shubman Gill's captaincy? Because many of the critiques, many of the experts, many of the former cricketers are also saying that he's a bit inexperienced of a personality for the captaincy position. He will be learning gradually. But what are your thoughts on his captaincy overall?
Deepika, I think, I'll be very honest, it was definitely below par. He didn't show any great maturity. He was, of course, we all know that he hasn't led any team. For example, leading in any red ball game, you know how many red ball games in first class cricket he has actually played. So if you look at captaincy and also you've given him captaincy in England, where you don't have to necessarily look at the surface, you have to look at the conditions as well. And also, when you don't have your regular guys who are playing all 5 games, like Siraj was available, thank God. Bumrah was not there. Injuries happened. He was a rattled man. But look at the person who has to see him through. That is Gautam Gambhir. Again, I don't have any great opinion about Gautam Gambhir, the coach. Gautam Gambhir is just a mentor just because he has played for India. His coaching abilities, I still suspect. So all the inputs, if he is getting from a think tank that involves Gautam Gambhir and a few others, I'm sorry, I don't blame Shubham, entirely. But yes, his lack of captaincy, acumen, that did cost India. Let's face it. A lot of decisions he had to take right there, and he wasn't quite there. And let's not blame him. Because he hasn't seen enough. He hasn't led a team. He hasn't emerged as a leader. He's a good batter. That's it. A batter who can lead by his batting, not by his captaincy skills. And in these 5 matches, I'm sorry, I won't say that I was very impressed, but I won't be very harsh on him because he still is firmly on the learning curve.
But 3 minutes to go before the day 5 starts. But Rakeshji, it's going to be over in 30-40 minutes, or you think it's going to take more time? I think
maximum an hour, either way.
And also,
all it requires is 4 deliveries, 4 wicket-taking deliveries, and it's over.
Right. And Narayan, we've got just 30 more seconds with us. Your closing comments on the match, because that has been a very spectacular match. Also a treat to watch for all the cricket fans, but the result is not so much in the favour. What do you think, Narayan?
It's all about the bowling, how India approaches. As we know that yesterday our bowlers were looking tired. So it was, even if you take a look, their speed, it was around 125, 120. And test match is all about taking 20 wickets. If you have the kind of bowlers who can take 20 wickets, definitely you win the matches. So I think India already did a mistake by not taking the fit bowlers who can be in the squad. Otherwise, the story would have been different. And if you take a look, Akashdeep, he has taken only 1 wicket here. And definitely, if we have some fit bowler, the story would have been different. And the missed catch of Harry Brook, we all know that. But today, fresh legs and definitely a new ball. I think India has a chance here.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rao, for joining us. And thank you so much, Narayan, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on this very crucial, very interesting 5-match test series between India and the difficult England. Well, England are aiming to script a record test run chase of 374 at the Oval, while India must win to level the series and retain the trophy.
Absolutely. And India have put them under sustained pressure, but need one